Welcome to the second episode of At Home with Sagicor. We're your hosts, Vanessa and Corey.
We are starting here at the beautiful estates at St. George, where we'll be discussing fire and electrical safety in the home.
Corey, did you know that October is Fire Safety Month?
I did not.
It's a good thing that we have the experts here at the estates who can talk us through it. Let's go chat with Steve. I'm here with Steve Garnes, and he is the maintenance supervisor for the estates at St. George. And we're going to talk to you, Steve, today about fire safety in the kitchen. So tell me a few of the fire hazards that you can experience in the kitchen.
Well, Vanessa, firstly, one of the first fire hazards that I could obviously think about is leaving a saucepan, a pot, cooking food unattended. And that's something that you know that we Bajans like to do. You boil your peas, you add your rice, and you go somewhere and do something, then you come back. So that is a hazard in itself.
Yes.
An open flame, an open stove top is also another hazard. Wearing loose clothing around the stove while cooking is another fire hazard.
So we're going to go on to when a fire actually starts in the kitchen.
Right.
What should you do in the event that a fire starts while you're, say, at the stove?
All right, Vanessa. So if a fire breaks out on your stove top, one of the first things you should do, or the first thing you should do, is to try to turn the stove off. But that's only if it's safe to do so. If you get it turned off, then your next step would be to cover the open flame down with a lid. That would take care of that. You should also try to use a fire extinguisher or a fire blanket. But take note, you must use that within the first few seconds of the fire to fully control it.
Okay.
Pay attention as well, never ever throw water on an oil fire.
Okay.
And the last thing you should do is get out the people place, close the door, and call the fire service.
Okay. Steve, you mentioned fire extinguishers and fire blankets to extinguish the fire. What is the type of fire extinguisher you should have in your kitchen?
I like that question, Vanessa, because up to this day, that question still puzzles a lot of homeowners. So there are different types of fire extinguishers for different class fires. But for the kitchen, just so you can cover your bases, it's best to have a multi-purpose extinguisher in your kitchen. And we call them alphabet extinguishers because they cover both Class A, Class B, and Class C fires.
And where should you store the extinguisher?
Well, Vanessa, to be honest, you should store your fire extinguisher no further than 20 feet from your kitchen. And in terms of mounting it, you should mount it between 4 inches to 5 feet from the floor, either on a stand or a bracket. You should always make sure it's in a doorway or an exit, and it's easily identifiable or visible for persons entering the kitchen.
Okay, that's very important information. Thank you so much, Steve, for teaching me about fire safety in the kitchen. I know that Corey wants to talk to you about electrical safety, so I'll leave you to it.
Alright, Steve, so let's talk electrical safety. In respect to electrical fires, what are the top 3 things to be concerned with?
Well, Corey, firstly, I would say the top 3 things would be 1, a burny smell. And when I say burny smell, I don't mean like from a saucepan, from a pot, from food. When I say burny smell, I mean like the obvious smell of melting wire, burning plastic, or something along that line. That was 1. Secondly, smoke. Smoke is a clear indication that there's something going on within your house. Thirdly, sparks, right? Sometimes you could see like sparks coming from your electrical plug outlet, from your switches, or even from your ceiling fans. And that's a telltale sign that something is about to happen.
Right, understood. So Steve, you would have mentioned sparks coming from a wall outlet. What would really cause that?
Well, I would say 1 or 2 things, Corey. It could either be a wire that isn't connected properly, that is loose, or 2 wires touching that shouldn't be touching.
Tell me, Steve, what are the main causes of electrical fires in a home?
Well, firstly, Corey, I'd say faulty electrical sockets or outlets that have not been grounded properly. That's 1. I'd also say that not using the correct wattage bulb in a particular light fixture could be another one. Plugging too many appliances or devices into a surge protector is another major issue, because you could basically be putting too much load on the particular socket and that is a potential hazard there as well.
Smoke detectors. Let's talk about that. What are the main things we need to remember about smoke detectors?
Simple thing, 3 steps. Firstly, you should test your smoke detector regularly, probably once every 2 weeks. There's a button on it that says test. You just push that button, whoo, it goes off and it stops. So you just need to test it regularly. Secondly, make sure that you change your batteries at least once a year. And thirdly, never ever, and remember this, never ever mount your detector under a 10-foot radius of your stove. That way you eliminate all the unnecessary false alarms. Because obviously if you put your detector too close to the stove and you're cooking, any sign of smoke will send it off.
Right. Thanks again, Steve,
You're
for
welcome.
taking the time. I will go and look for Vanessa now because I know she's falling in love with the estates.
Buddy, check out my pool.
Vanessa, I know you're enjoying yourself here at the pool, but it's time to get to CaribSupply. So let's go.
If we must.
Hi again, guys. We're here at CaribSupply with my guy Justin. We'll be discussing fire equipment today. So Justin, there are various types of fire extinguishers, and I'm told that you carry 5. You could tell me about them, please?
Yeah, all right. Well, the 5 that I carry, the main 5, is the water mist extinguisher. This would be handling what you would call Class A fires, which would be more so wood and paper. This is just a water-based extinguisher, so that's why it's limited to just basically those types of fires. Then I would carry a water foam. This is water and foam mixed together, and this usually works on different types of chemical fires, but also wood and paper. That the foam takes away the heat from the fire, and the water would remove the oxygen, so it would counteract, the two of them work together to counteract the fire in that way. I would also carry a standard ABC dry chemical or dry powder. This is a multi-purpose extinguisher. This can handle many different types of fires, from the same wood and paper to some liquids and gases. And then it would carry a CO2 extinguisher. CO2 extinguisher is going to be recommended for electrical fires, and it can also be recommended for a food grade or any person who will be selling food, as it's a cleaner gas, and when you disperse it, it's not going to leave anything on the components, so it's usually recommended for electrical equipment or if you have food selling, and those would be the 5 major types that I carry.
Interesting.
Justin, you mentioned many different types of extinguishers. What would be the best type for household use?
Well, the one that I would usually recommend as the best for household use would be the dry chemical or multi-purpose extinguisher, ABC. Reason being, this can handle, as I said, many different types of fires. It can handle gas fire, it can handle paper, wood, different materials that may be in the home, materials like fabric and so on, and it can also handle certain electrical fires. But this is a multifaceted extinguisher, and I would usually recommend this for home use.
Oh, perfect. Corey, you remember that Steve mentioned the ABC fire extinguisher for ultimate fires in the household or in the kitchen, I should say. Justin, are there different sizes in that extinguisher?
Yes, usually this extinguisher comes in 3 different sizes, but for home use and general use purposes, it's recommended you use the 5 or the 10-pound. This would be the 10-pound, and the 5 is slightly smaller. We would also carry a 20-pound extinguisher, but that one is usually recommended for persons who will have a gas pump, because that's really what that would be for.
So Justin, some other fire equipment is here. Talk to me about these.
All right, well, as I said, this is our fire blanket, or 6x4 fire blanket, and this is used for what you call the flat surface fire or tabletop fire. Usually this is recommended for big restaurants, persons who have deep fat fryers, and this is hung on the wall above where the stove top is, and these 2 straps that hang down is the way that you would pull the blanket straight onto the top of the fire. That's usually how it works. So it'd be on the wall here, and you would hold the 2 straps and you will pull and completely smother the fire, and that's basically the use of this. And this is our smoke detector. So this will be used in the home or in the office, even in the restaurant. This will pick up smoke in the air and it will go off. We're going to press it now. Ooh. And that is the sound that it will make when it picks up smoke in the room, and it will alarm in that way to alert you, wake you. That's why it beats like that, to wake you up. Or you sleep, if you're sleeping and letting you know there's a fire, and that you're going to need to vacate the area.
Justin, where should you place the fire detector in the home?
Well, usually the smoke detector would be placed every 20 feet or so along the roof of the home, usually at about, depending on the roof of your house, but usually about 8 to 10 feet. And this would pick up any smoke within, I believe, 100 to 200 square feet. And then you will hang them based on that going down through your home, based on the size of your home. But it's usually placed on the roof.
Okay, so you should have more than one fire
detector smoke
in your
alarm.
home.
Yes,
Okay.
because basically if there's a fire in the kitchen and you are in the bedroom, this would start to alarm loud enough that while you're in the kitchen you will hear it and give yourself enough chance to get out of the home and get out of the fire.
Okay, sounds good. On another note, Justin, how often should I have my fire equipment serviced?
Well, usually it is an annual service that's recommended. However, depending on the nature of your business, some persons have 6-month schedules. At certain manufacturing plants, like for instance at High Pack, we have a 6-month schedule then where we go every 6 months and we inspect their extinguishers and fire equipment and make sure that they're in working order. Usually though, as I said, it's usually an annual inspection, and only if you disperse your fire extinguisher, if you have to use it, God forbid, you can bring it back to us and we do all the servicing and refilling of each extinguisher that we sell.
Demonstrate for me and the audience, because they really like the fire extinguishers. Just demonstrate how they are used.
Well, usually it is an acronym that the fire service or any fire training facility would give you, and the acronym is PASS. That stands for pull. On the top of the extinguisher you have a pin here, so the pull represents pull this pin. The A would represent aim, which is aiming the hose of the actual extinguisher, and then the squeeze and sweep would be the last two, which would make up the full word pass. So it would be pull here first, it would be aim, and squeeze and sweep at the base of the fire, all in one motion. Never at the top of the fire, always at the base of the fire.
Gotcha. Thanks again for the demonstration, Justin. At what point do we call the fire service though?
Well, I would recommend that anytime that you have a fire of any kind, you contact the fire service immediately. Persons should always remember fire extinguishers and this fire equipment are not firefighting tools. These are tools used to give you the opportunity to get yourself out of a fire. So anytime you have any kind of fire at all, you always contact the fire service. But it's always good to have fire equipment around, because these will give you early notification, and these are tools to give you a chance to get out of the fire. But they're not actually firefighting equipment. Any firefighting is at the fire service.
Justin, on a final note, walk us through the steps of purchasing your fire equipment.
Well, usually how that will go, you will contact preferably myself here at CaribSupply or any of the sales clerks at CaribSupply. You can explain to us the nature of what your business would be doing, or if it's for home use, and we will make the recommendation based on the size of your home, the size of your office, the type of equipment that you're carrying, and then from there we can also do site visits, we can do the installations for you, and we do all the servicing and refilling of all extinguishers once you disperse it. So from there, usually the fire service will only come in and certify to make sure that everything is in place where it's supposed to be. But we can handle basically all those steps for you. Just call us and explain to us, and we can help you in any way.
Thank you so much, Justin, for teaching us so much about fire equipment and fire safety. I want to thank CaribSupply as well. Corey, we're going to make our way over to the fire service so we can learn a little bit more about fire safety.
Yes, looking forward to that. Hi guys, so we've reached here at Warden Fire Station. We'll be discussing fire safety, and I'm here with
Divisional Officer William Vaughn
and
Fire and Life Safety Officer Kevin Sobers.
so to date, how many house fires have there been in 2023?
So far from January 1st up to October 18th, we have had 58 house fires, of which 8 of them are direct buildings and 50 has been private dwelling houses or residential houses.
So in some reports, we have heard about persons being trapped in homes. What are some of the reasons for this?
Yes, one of the main causes has been burglar bars. Now, burglar bars, they are both good and they're bad. They're good in the sense they keep those from the outside from coming in, but they also keep those from inside from getting out. So we advise persons that when they're installing these burglar bars, that they ensure they're the temporary fixtures that they can be unlocked and swing open so that they could gain access to the outside. Also, a lot of persons now are not investing in smoke alarms and fire extinguishers. The smoke alarm, a small device, but it does so much. It saves so many lives. So installing a smoke alarm, it alerts you in the early that smoke or fire is detected, so you can wake up and exit your home on time.
Additionally, that whole concept of having a plan in case something happens. Sit with your family, decide what we are going to do in case of a fire. Have an area to which you're going to assemble if you have to leave the home unexpectedly, so that everybody knows what we're supposed to do in the event of an emergency.
So since we're on the topic of equipment, let's go into what type of equipment is used to extinguish fires.
Well, let's start with the basic one. There's something called the triangle of fire. And all firefighting is removing or reducing one of those triangles of fire into the point where it can no longer support combustion. So the main one is water. Every fire truck that you see pass by will be filled with water, from 600 gallons and up.
Wow.
Right? That is our main form of extinguishment. Now there are other things like extinguishers. Fire extinguishers put out fire in a different way. It removes the oxygen from the fire so the fire can no longer support combustion. And then there are a myriad of other little things that we've developed over the years, things like fire beaters, things like what we used to call a knapsack tank, or basically something like a sprayer that we can use. And the truth is that something as simple as a leaf blower, you can use an ordinary leaf blower to extinguish fires. Because the truth is that you're imparting so much oxygen to that fire that has gone above the threshold where the fire can no longer support combustion, and it goes out. So these are some of the things that we would use to help put fires out.
Oh, I never would have thought using a leaf blower to extinguish a flare would work. Okay.
So what are some of the biggest mistakes that people make when a fire starts?
Well, first thing first, once you call the Barbados Fire Service, we respond within 2 minutes of the call. So when you hear talk about persons saying the fire service take long to come, no. Most likely, in most cases, is that the persons take too long to call the Barbados Fire Service. So from the time you notice that there's a fire, as small as it is, especially for in houses or whether it be the toaster or the microwave start, call the Barbados Fire Service and say, well, you have a fire that has started, you see flames, etc. So that we could have our team dispatch so that in the event that it gets too big, we're already on our way. And not a case that you wait until the fire has spread to the point of no return, to the point where you start taking out the TV and the couch and microwave and everything else outside the house, and then you take your cell phone and you start recording videos and posting, and then you're like, who called the fire service? And then you realize no one has called us yet, and that has been the case on too many occasions. So
that is the biggest issue we have when fire starts. Persons believe they can put it out themselves. A fire doubles in size every 30 seconds. So what is the fire the size of a penny? 30 seconds from now is probably the size of the saucepan bottom, and you can understand how that can how exponentially that can become more and more serious. And so we always like to tell you, call the fire department. It's better to have us and don't need us than need us and don't have us. Okay, so call us. A house, a standard bungalow house, 40 feet by 20 feet, can burn to the ground in 7 minutes.
Wow.
Flat.
And also to add to that, I cannot go without saying, when you hear sirens or you see beacons coming from afar, from any emergency vehicle, please pull over and let them pass, because it means every time we have to stop or we are trapped between two vehicles and we can't pass, it means that fire is doubling every 30 seconds. So we encourage persons, regardless of what side of the road you're on, and you say, oh, that's not the fire truck coming, it's not on my lane, or the police vehicle is coming, it's not in my lane. No. Always pull and make as much room, maximum space, so in the event that the person does their stop, the truck has enough room that they can pull over and overtake, so that we can get to the fire as much as possible. It may seem small or seem like it's taking you from doing what it is you have to do, but at the end of the day, it could be you, it could be your family, it could be someone that you know. So do not take it lightly. Once you see any emergency vehicle responding, please pull to the side.
So remember, guys, you need to be courteous on the road when you see a fire truck coming your way. Just get out of the way. They're on their way to an emergency. Mr. Vaughn, you would have mentioned evacuation plans previously. You know, there are homes that are 2-story and they may have a basement, if anything. What is the best fire exit for these kinds of properties?
Let's start here. The fire department, for inspection purposes, only sees doors as means of exits. So although you may be working in the office where there's a window right next to you, we don't consider those exits. An exit is any door that you swing open and you step outside. However, for your home and your property, there might be a window that you may have to use, for instance, to get from upstairs, because most homes don't have 2 sets of stairs. Yeah, and so there may only be 1 set of stairs to get from upstairs downstairs. So if your house is configured in such a way where there's not a door on the outside where you may be able to get outside, you must come up with a plan. Do I need to have what we call a chain ladder? Do we need to have a rope or something? I'm not advocating. Let me just be clear. I'm not advocating that you and the children should be swinging from a rope, but you got to understand. Dying in a fire is a very, very, very difficult one. I've never died before, but the truth is, it's going to be painful. And so we are saying to you, give yourself the best opportunity to get out. So you have your extinguishers, you have a plan, and you know where your closest exit is to your home at any point in time. So when you're in your house and you're in the kitchen, you know the door to get out is right here. If you're downstairs in the basement, I'm going to have to use the window. But you must have a plan in place that how are you going to get out of your home. Yeah, and if you're visiting somebody else's home and you're staying there for a little bit of time, spend a little bit of time walking around. Yeah. Do they have a plan? If they have the plan, involve you in it. If they don't have a plan, you have one. Always remember, the best person to take care of you is you.
It's true.
So remember, guys, know your exits, have a plan, and call the fire service as soon as possible. Thank you so much, officers.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, gentlemen. Corey, I'm going to head back to the studio where I chat with Tara about house fires and general insurance.
Great.
We're here with Tara from Sagicor General, and today we're going to talk about fire safety and home insurance. Hi, Tara.
Hi, Vanessa.
So my first question to you is, does your home insurance cover damage due to fire?
Yes, it does. So we have a Key Protector home policy, and that covers anything relating to fire or fire damage within the home.
Okay, so Tara, can I protect the contents of my home, or is it limited to the structure?
Right, you can actually do both. You can protect the contents and you can protect your home under the policy. So with the contents now, you can protect your personal belongings as well, but you would add that onto the form. You would give a valuation of how much your contents are worth, and then all of that will be covered in the event a fire happens.
Okay, that's great to know.
Yes.
What about wildfires? Am I protected against those as well, or is it just fires that originate within my home?
Yes, you actually are protected against wildfires. So SJ's homeowner's insurance policy actually protects you against wildfires and fires that originate within your home. So it's both external and internal.
Okay, that's great to know that I'm protected against any wildfires that may happen in the area. So does my home insurance cover any fire-related risks such as smoke or heat damage?
Yes, it actually does. So it does cover both smoke and heat damage. This is part of the broader section now under the coverage when it relates to fire insurance.
Okay, so final question. Let's talk deductibles.
Yeah.
Is there a deductible for fire or fire-related damage claims?
Well, that's actually a great question. There is actually no deductible with fire or fire-related claims under the homeowner's insurance policy.
Thank you so much, Tara, for sharing this information with us. It was very useful.
You're very welcome.
Thank you guys as well for tuning in, and don't hesitate to look out for the new episode of At Home with Sagicor.